live a life that's full, and I've traveled each and every byway. One more, I low-blowed Roy Jones and did it my way. Hey! Well, this is the round by round for the Bernard Hopkins Roy Jones Jr. fight that happened last night on April 3rd, and this is April 4th, kind of early in the morning. Yeah, I'm tired. Put out some vids yesterday and everything, and trying to get this show on the road. 17 years in the making. Finally it happens. 10 years too late, but when you have two fighters that generally detest each other, and they basically made the fight to see who is the best at this point in their career, you're going to see a decent fight. And I can honestly say it was better than a lot of the Bernard Hopkins fights of late, because they can kind of lull you. So, well, let's get to it. Let's do the round by round and see how it goes. All right, you ready? Here we go. Round number one. Hopkins is aggressive coming out of the gate. He's jabbing to the body, and they're exchanging jabs. Not a lot's really happening. Jones lands a jab. Bernard goes to the body again. Nice hook by Hopkins. A lot of body work. Hopkins is laying the ground here. He's coming in. He's throwing high and then coming and ripping down to the body, which is something that you like to see. Right lands by Jones, followed up by a jab. Bernard goes to the body again. There's a 1-2 by Jones. Hopkins is more aggressive in this round, and he lands more of the clean shots that actually get through. And I gave that round to Hopkins. In round number two, we have Jones starting out and jabbing. A jab to the body by Hopkins, a 1-2 by Jones. A 1-2 by Hopkins. Then you have a right by Hopkins. It looks like right to the body by Hopkins. It looks like Jones is cut right here on his eye in the corner. It's not in a bad place. Right by Jones, body by Hopkins. A big right lands by Hopkins. Roy is in the ropes at this time. Hook by Hopkins, body by Hopkins. And I gave that round a 10-9 by Hopkins. He's pushing Roy around. He's able to do almost whatever he wants, and not necessarily hit Roy Jones Jr. at will, but this isn't a prime Roy Jones. Bernard has held on to his prime a lot longer than Roy did. And I said I gave that round to Hopkins, right? 10-9. Third round, jab by Hopkins, a nice right by Hopkins. Jabs are feeling each other out, but Bernard's always really applying the aggressive pressure. Jabs and rights land by Hopkins. The occasional jab comes out from Jones. He's just really not letting his hands go, and I think he's trying to conserve his energy, because if he lets them go, he might run out. It's a pretty big round for Hopkins. He lands left to the body, right to the body. 1-2 by Hopkins. Another body shot. And he's imposing his will on Roy at this time, and I gave that round to Hopkins as well. Now, and the fourth round opens up. You have a nice Roy starts out jabbing, but then Hopkins comes quick into the 1-2, and then he goes right to the body. Jones with his jab, but Hopkins is working that body. He's throwing the 1-2s. He lands a nice left to the body and right to the body. I mean, he's just going left, and he's really working the body, is what I'm trying to tell you. He's putting his work in. He wants to slow Roy down, because Roy's hands are still fast. There's no denying that. It's that the leg work, the movement that Jones used to have is gone. Did I get you dizzy on that one? Yeah, I know. Going through some jabs, a hook by Jones, which was nice. Another hook by Jones, but a right to the body by Hopkins. Another body shot by Hopkins, and then hands around, pretty much landing a nice hook. And I gave the fourth round again to Hopkins as well. The fifth round, starts out, it's not as fast as the other ones. You have a nice right landing by Hopkins. You have a right left to the body by Hopkins, which is nice. I mean, He comes in, he throws the jab, gets Jones back and straight up, which is something you really didn't see a whole lot of Jones doing. He would go off to the sides, to where you didn't get the shots off. But as he throws that jab, pop, he instantly drops down and throws the hooks to the body, which was nice to see. Then he starts popping out some jabs. Jones does try and keep his distance. A right lands by Hopkins. A right to the body by Jones. Apparently he's saying, hey, this might work. 1-2 by Hopkins. A left to the body by Hopkins. A 1-2 by Jones. A 1-2 by Hopkins. Oh, God, I'm getting into the 6th round. I'm sorry. Look, get back to the 5th. A 1-2 by an uppercut by Jones lands. A right by Hopkins. A body by Jones. Body by Hopkins. Another one. There might have been a low blow in there. Hopkins might have hit Jones with a low blow. I mean, he was so far underneath him that you could read the glove from between Jones's legs. I mean, he really blasted him low. It was dirty. I gave that round to Hopkins. 6th round. Fast forward. We're getting into all the body shots and working the body and ripping shots to the body. Doing all this great stuff. Jones is on the ropes. There's 1-2s, 1-2s. Hopkins is firing them off, and then Jones starts coming back, firing his jabs, getting them off the ropes. There was a hit to the back of the head in this round, a bit of a rabid punch. Hopkins went down because of this. It wasn't marked a knockdown or anything like that. Don't get too excited. Jones was actually deducted a point for this happening, and when the ref said go, B-Hop attacked him, and it's starting to become, it's blowing up and starting to become a bit of a war in there. You really see these guys don't like each other. That was a 10-8 round for Hopkins, the 6th round was. And the 7th starts out more for Hopkins. I mean, he's throwing the jabs, he's going to the body. He's working all those rounds, but then Jones starts coming back. He's actually letting his hands go. He's firing the jabs. He's firing the 1-2s. It's going back and forth. There's a lot of hits to the body. Nice rights landing by Hopkins. A hook landing by Hopkins. Right by Jones. This is one of the rounds where it could go either way. It could have been a draw, to be honest with you. I was kind of leaning toward Hopkins in this round, looking a little bit over, but I could definitely see where somebody could give that round to Jones if there was a round to give to him. And that was the 7th. The 8th round starts with a jab to the body by Hopkins, a nice hook by Jones. More body work and hooks by Hopkins coming in. And Jones is basically just throwing jabs at this time. He's taking a lot of body shots. It's a nice right-left body work by Hopkins. If he touches him with the right hand, usually it's the lead right hook to the body. He follows it immediately with the left hook to the body, which is nice to see. Now some nice 1-2s landing by Hopkins. Another rabid punch. This time it looked deliberate. But then when they show the replay, you can also see that Hopkins kind of whacked him in the back of the head too. So the ref gets in there and is telling these guys, hey, you need to clean it up. You're both fouling each other. This isn't right. They go back. Another right to the body by Hopkins, and Hopkins finishes the round strong again. And that was another 10-9 round for Hopkins. Going into the 9th, and by now most of you guys already thought there'd be a knockout or something. I thought this would go pretty far. A lot of jabs, working the body, hooks by Hopkins. Jones lands the occasional lead right hand, which was nice to see. But again, Jones isn't letting his hands go. He's not really trying to viciously engage in anything. And Hopkins controlled this whole fight with his 1-2s and jabs and working that body like he does. And that was another 10-9 round for Hopkins. Let's see. Going on to the 10th. You have a left and a right by Hopkins to the body. A right by Hopkins. The body shot by Hopkins. Then you had a nice right by Jones Jr. Looks like they get in there. And Roy repays the favor to Bernard with a little blast to the cajones. a little wake-up call, start, a little electric shock there to the groin area. And a lot of you might look at it and say, "Oh, well, that wasn't like completely under the junk." But what you don't know is there is a thing called shifting. You have the groin protection on, but sometimes over fight with your movements and side to side and occasional hits, that thing moves, and sometimes some stuff goes out the side, and then you get hit after your stuff is out the side, and it doesn't have to be a direct hit, man. Think of it as the Graze effect, and that can really that can mess you up. I don't know if he's messing around. I've been hitting the junk before. It hurts. Just throwing that out there. All right, where am I at? The 10th round. Hopkins gets back up. He took some time, about 35 seconds or so, to gather himself. He starts working that body again. Jones was landing the uppercut, which was nice to see. It was more when they were clinching and Jones was holding Bernard's head down while Bernard held his arm, which was body shots by Bernard, 1-2s. Nice right by Jones. There's a right-left combo by Bernard Hopkins. And I gave that 10th round, a 10-9 round to Hopkins. The 11th round, jab by Hopkins, a nice right to the body by Hopkins. And as this is happening, Hopkins comes in, head hits Roy Jones in the eye, splits his eyelid open. Doesn't look very good. A lot of jabs. More body work by Hopkins, and rights, 1-2s, landing a right by Jones, which was nice, a left to the body, and right to the head by Hopkins. And in that 11th round, again, it was a 10-9 round for Hopkins. The 12th round, pretty much a wash. I had that round as a draw. They go back and forth, throwing stuff. Wasn't very exciting. Hopkins didn't do enough to win it, or Hopkins was more of just laying back and enjoying his victory and basking in it, and Roy Jones didn't do enough to win the round. But I called it a draw. So, while y'all are out there having your barbecues today, and hope it's a blessed day for everyone, Annalie Martin can sit back and go, "Hey, Bigragu actually gave me a shout out at the very end of the video." Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this. I had a 118-109, and B-Hop got his revenge, I guess. So there you go, right? Well, hey, this is Bigragu. I'm out.